Hello and welcome to Movie Film Studios, the only podcast that takes you inside the mind of two film studio executives as we unravel and then re-ravel the best that Hollywood has to offer. I'm Isaac.
And I'm AJ, and today we sat down in our Movie Film Studio Memorial Theatre and watched absolutely nothing. We actually sat back and listened to all of our old episodes and picked out all the best bits from it, put it together in our little podcast making machine and spat out an episode full of all the great stuff that we've produced over the last few weeks. Enjoy.
I believe we released the 3D animated film called The Salary Movie.
We did. It was Assault and Battery for a while.
Yeah, it was. There was a working title there. I'm glad we ditched that in the end. I still don't think it was the best title of the film.
No. So this was a film whereby we marketed it for children, but it was as intense as The Godfather.
That's generally it. So I was talking to one of the production team down at MFW Digital, so
Yes.
Movie Film Workshops
Yes.
Digital, and I was saying it's a bit of a shame that it was such a highbrow conceptual film, and it's a shame that it never got a cinematic release.
Oh, didn't it?
And they looked at me quizzically, and I was like, "Well, what's that look for?" And I was like, "Yeah, it came out. It's already been and gone." And I was just like, "How did I miss this?" And apparently, there's this phenomenon with kids 3D animated films that they come out and then no one remembers them at all, and I'm just like, how is that possible? And they're like, do you know that they made a Madagascar's Penguins film? Penguins had a standalone feature-length animated film.
Really?
There's a whole bunch of these films just fall into this nexus of they come out, they disappear, they end up on Netflix and are constantly on like play loops for toddlers.
Yep.
So I think that's probably where...
Is that where our film is right now?
Yeah, I mean, we, again, have not managed to secure a deal with Netflix for release.
Yep.
We are still in the works with our own digital distribution platform.
Yep.
But yeah, that's sort of where the nut job over the hedge. You know, the nut job is getting a nut job too. It may or may not have already come out. It's impossible to tell. There's this collective amnesia when it comes to like these mediocre kids animated films.
Did you know they made a spin-off of Cars called Planes?
Yes, there's a second Planes called Planes and Automobiles, and they're like fire and rescue. I have no... What's going on? See, this is the thing. There's so many of these that come out, it's impossible to track. I didn't even know that our own movie had been and gone at the cinema.
We thought we'd fast-track it. And in the process of fast-tracking it, we actually fast-tracked our digital distribution platform as well.
Oh, nice. I was going to ask about that this week.
Yeah. So it's currently only got Tequila Gold on it.
Right, okay.
There is nothing else on this service. It does cost about $15 a month, and you can only stream Tequila Gold on it. But everyone starts small, right?
Exactly,
like Netflix didn't launch with a massive back catalogue of content. Now, Isaac, what did we call that little platform again?
Our digital streaming platform.
Digital streaming platform,
It's MFS W D DSP.
Okay.
It's So it's Movie Film Studios. Workshop Digital digital distribution platform.
Great.
We only refer to the acronym as MFS WD DDP. Which I mean, most people are just calling it which is fine. It's getting a lot of SEO. Like everyone who types it in goes straight there,
straight to it,
because there's nothing else out there that's even remotely close to what that stands for. So
we haven't yet got Google to recommend it if they sort of spell a letter wrong, if they use the wrong character. So, but we'll get there. They have to type it out exactly like that.
Because initially, I went with Netflix, but like without the X, so it was as Net FLICKS.
Oh yeah.
But Netflix actually already owns Netflix. And Netflix, and like they've been super litigious in like buying all of those domain names that anything remotely sounding like is already gone. We've taken the same approach, and we've got MFSW DDPS, MFSW DDP T, and like so any letter that's anywhere close to any of those letters, I've bought all of the domain names, and redirected them back to and so anyone who's even remotely close to coming to our website will actually get there for that digital distribution.
And if you sign up for it now, that's where all of our films will be exclusively released. at least after they've come out in the cinema or whenever we decide to put them on there.
I'm not sure if you got the email. Flights booked to Greece.
Oh yeah, great. Did we buy that island?
We did.
Great.
And what we're doing as well, because obviously quite a lot of that the intellectual property we're going to shoot in Greece is obviously now in out of copyright and in the sort of Creative Commons sort of domain, the public domain. We decided that one of the more sensible things to do there as well is shoot every a remake, Pupham's remake of every movie ever set in Greece, and we can hold on to it for 100 years or so until it comes back. So we're doing Mamma Mia, I believe, is set on a Greek island, so we're going to shoot a very Pupham's Mamma Mia. Just wait until that lapses into the public domain, and then we can release that.
Great.
We're even doing a very Pupham's Greece. Technically not set in Greece, but there was a bit of confusion. We thought we might as well do it anyway. So
okay,
yeah,
I like it. And that we have no other. We can't think of any other films set in Greece.
No other films set in Greece. No,
none whatsoever. In fact, there probably haven't been any other films set in Greece, right?
Who knows? I think My Big Fat Greek Wedding 2, again, I haven't seen any of them. It's got the word Greek in there. We'll do it anyway. And we'll set this one in Greece. Very Pupham's My Big Fat Greek Wedding. You may have seen the reports in the papers, and obviously it was on the international news, and Macaulay Culkin took his role too seriously.
Oh, no.
We've seen it growing behind his eyes for the last 20 years, that slow descent into maniacal insanity.
Oh, no.
As soon as he was dressed up as Hermes, the homicidal tree monster, he went full method.
Oh, no.
We obviously, our thoughts and prayers go out to the family of the cast that we'd involved.
Oh, no.
And Macaulay's trial is upcoming. We are not allowed to speak about it, lest we influence. We're supposed to be impartial in the whole process, and our lawyers have said that beyond letting people know that we're deeply sorry for what has occurred, we're not allowed to talk about it, and I think we should just leave it at that.
Okay, this explains why our lawyers down on the factory floor seem to be in much more of a flurry of activity than usual.
I mean, really anything to distract them from overthrowing us is just... but, I mean...
Almost, I don't want to say blessing, but, I mean, it's kind of
Exactly. Movie Film Studios' position is, at the moment, officially impartial.
Okay.
And that is all that is going to be said.
Okay. So this means that environmentally conscious is not
Oh no, we've filmed all the events that are happening. We can't release it. It's currently evidence.
Okay.
Once the trial's over, we'll get the cinematic release. So
well, you know what we could do in the meantime? We could do what Francis Ford Coppola did on Apocalypse Now and have a documentary shoot on the side as well about the filming of that film. So they made a documentary called Heart of Darkness, which was all about how hard it was to shoot Apocalypse Now and all the problems they had with Marlon Brando and this and that. Could we do that?
I was thinking more of like a premium podcast, which sort of in the vein of like Serial, or even Netflix original series Making a Murderer, or The Jinx, where it's the gritty true crime story of environmentally conscious.
Yeah, I like this.
Yeah.
And I mean, it may tide us over while the actual film is
financially,
in limbo.
Exactly. And then obviously just massive buzz leading up to the release once that footage is released from the evidence archives.
Okay,
so,
that's fine.
We can do that. That's good. I mean, I like your thinking. Always thinking about seizing opportunities to monetize what's going on.
Got to be optimistic about these things, right? Like, you have a lemon, make lemonade, and then sell it for a grossly inflated price.
When you have murder, make Murderade.
You know how we rushed into production our digital distribution platform, which was, of course, called
Mufasa,
which stands for
Movie Film Workshops. Digital distribution. There's this weird thing where there's two digitals next to one another. So Movie Film Workshops digital distribution platform.
That's it.
And you have to remember that the P at the end is silent. Yep. So it's Mufasa. All right. Okay.
So we rushed that into production, which we thought was a great idea. The problem is we didn't really work on the security for it, so we were hacked.
Right.
Yeah.
Was it the Pirate Bay? Was it Torrent?
It was Spielberg. Steven Spielberg.
Spielberg?
Yeah. He was colluding with the Russians. I mean, think of all the films he's made that aren't wholesome and American. There's many of them. And he went in, he himself, he actually... It wasn't even a thing where he hacked us over the internet. He broke into the studios.
Old sort of cat burglar style.
Yeah. He went downstairs to our mainframe basement.
Nothing is safe anymore. Nothing's sacred.
And he stole everything.
Everything.
He stole the film we already had on there, which was Tequila Gold. And he also stole the spec script for Cretaceon. He stole
and all the concept art. I imagine
all the concept art.
I mean,
it's mostly his own art from his own films.
Exactly.
But he stole it all.
Yeah, we did sort of take it from Indiana Jones and Jurassic Park. Pretty much.
He took it all.
Yeah.
He basically thought, well, this has my name all over it, so therefore it's mine. He took the actual server as well. So the digital distribution platform needs to be rebuilt. It's being rebuilt right now. I don't know if you can hear all the hammering and the drilling and the jackhammering in the background. I don't know why the jackhammering to install the server, but it's just the way it is these days. I don't ask these questions. So the thing is, we've lost a lot. We've lost all the progress on that film.
So I mean,
but we will rebuild. Life finds a way.
Life does find a way,
which is from a film,
and
I can't remember the name
it belongs
of it now.
in a museum.
It does. Yep.
And
that's No Moon.
That is No Moon. I was actually trying to think of Spielberg films specifically.
Okay.
I was like, that's No Moon. Was that The Color Purple or was that Schindler's List? I can't really remember where that quote comes from. Here's the problem. We went out and we found Stephen King with a V.
Yep.
V King.
Mm-hmm.
Convinced him to quit his job as a tax consultant and come work for us writing gritty post-apocalyptic children's books.
Yep.
All good. He sat down, rocked out the Apart Square Bracket Meant universe.
Yep.
Series of books, 8 books, churned them out.
Yeah, New York Times bestseller.
They
if I
were,
recall.
absolutely. Also, fun fact, it was his birthday last week. We threw him a little party in the office. Now we can credit him as being celebrated author Stephen
brilliant.
King.
Yes.
So
that'll be great.
that's that we can add that into the trailer. The issue is our legal department signed a contract with him. They gave us exclusive film rights.
Yep.
He didn't think that a 2-hour film could do justice to his broad universe.
Oh, you're kidding me.
And optioned off the rights
to who?
To Netflix to do a 10-episode series per book. The issue is the kids' books are only 10 pages each.
Yeah.
So each page of the book gets its own episode. I tell you, we were spewing.
God damn it.
And it's a massive missed opportunity. We have since rectified the clause in his contract, which means we have exclusive rights for all media.
Great.
Unfortunately, now Netflix has the series coming out, The Apart Square Bracket Meant.
That's insane.
And
we made that man.
We lifted
who
him
he
up.
is.
Now, to be fair, he has written a gritty clown novel about the dangers of social media called @ and it's just the @ symbol. And we have optioned that off.
Oh,
so
brilliant.
In the not too distant future, we should be releasing the film @
Yep.
about the dangers of social media in the modern world with this sort of like clown / sort of internet troll sort of feel to it.
Yep.
But no, the Apartment Square Bracket Meant from Movie Film Studios.
Look, I wish Netflix the best of luck with that film or that series that they're going to do. I don't think they can do it justice.
No.
Look, I've seen nothing good come out of Netflix ever. So, best of luck, Netflix. Well done.
I didn't actually realize that was the plot of the film. When I first saw the title, I assumed it was a Stephen King style creepy snowman.
Wait,
almost like a dark retelling of Frosty the Snowman.
Wait, which Stephen King are you talking about, though?
P.H. King.
Oh, okay.
I mean, V. King is actually working on a creepy version of Frosty the Snowman as well. So maybe that's what we do. We do.
And he's calling it Frost. Nothing to do with the other film called Frost Nixon. It's totally different.
No, that's the sequel where it is the creepy snowman Frosty the Snowman versus President Nixon. I love at the end of Jackie Chan films how they have the credit sequence of him injuring himself doing his own stunts.
Yeah.
And I just imagine those post-credit sequences are just going to get longer and longer the older he gets, just because there's so many more hips to break and bones to...
It's kind of sad to think about it, isn't it? Like... Yeah, that's right. Jackie Chan is getting older, and he might not be able to do this stuff for much longer. But I mean, look, I've never been a huge fan of the films that he's done for an American audience or
Yes,
with
yeah.
an American crew. I don't know if this is an American film, to be fair.
It's set in London. It's got, Pierce Brosnan playing an Irishman for the first time.
Actually, yeah, and it's directed by Martin Campbell, who did GoldenEye and Casino Royale and Green Lantern. So, it could be good.
Yeah, I don't know.
It could be the Green Lantern, though. But yeah, it's nice to see Jackie Chan still out and about. But it doesn't
doing
really.
his thing.
It doesn't hold a candle to his Hong Kong films. Those films are amazing, and I can't see this being that like that.
No, but still, it is nice to see Jackie Chan, even though he has aged, still doing his thing, climbing up walls, leaping out.
The great scene. My favorite scene in that trailer was he's in a house somewhere, and there's 4 baddies in there. And he opens up a suitcase, and somehow then he has a gun. And then he goes around a corner, and he's hiding from them as they're shooting at him. And then one of the crooks comes around the corner and just blasts the corner, and he's not there. But he's like perched above him like Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I want to see Jackie Chan as Spider-Man.
Can they do like Logan is like old Wolverine?
Yeah.
Can they do old Spider-Man and have Jackie Chan come in
I would
as
watch
old
that.
Spider-Man?
I don't care about continuity. I don't care. Spider-Man's meant to be some like Brooklyn kid. I don't give a shit. Like, I want to see
just him firing his webs, and they only go like 2 feet and they splutter out. It's like there's no impetus behind it. Yeah.
Liam Neeson he's looked at the market, right? And he's seen like Hugh Grant, he's got his thing, right? He's always like bumbling fool in love. And then, you've got Matt Damon always being saved, right? That's his thing. Liam Neeson, his whole career will henceforth just be a man, just an ordinary man with a set of ordinary skills, extraordinary skills. What again? I'm on in this vehicle. Oh, dear.
But this is just like 2000 Liam Neeson to 2020 Liam Neeson, because before that he was doing Rob Roy, he was doing Schindler's List, he was doing some really sort of great films of many different genres.
Yeah, how do you think he got his extraordinary skills?
It's
To
true.
be fair,
It was smuggling, people in Berlin.
To be fair, that whole ordinary man with an extraordinary set of skills, Schindler's List does fit that description quite well, so I think he's just been doing it for his entire career.
Yeah, but now he's got the opportunity, like, now it's 2017, right? He would just be him on a spaceship, and then what's that? There's, you've got to go find this specific person, and oh dear.
So we watched, in preparation for this, and you may remember from last week, the film was Blockers.
Yes.
And then we also watched a trailer for a film called Daddy's Home 2, but it was so bad that we decided not to talk about it.
Yeah.
Both of those films have John Cena in it. And John Cena is Ferdinand the Bull.
He's doing well.
Making that transition.
We haven't cast him in anything
Pretty
yet.
soon he's gonna get in quotation marks middle name, just like Dwayne The Rock Johnson. You've made it when you have an inserted. I have no idea what his wrestler name was, or whether he was just John Cena, or like Boulder Man, John Boulder Man Cena.
He needs John the Boulder Man.
The Boulder Man, yeah.
This is a weird thing to say, but even though he's fully clothed in the trailer, I can just see him with his shirt off. Like, it just feels like his shirt is off and he just doesn't belong there.
The bulk of his body it cannot be contained by clothing.
Yeah.
And it shows through whatever he's doing.
Meant to be wearing these kind of like schlubby dad clothes, like a plaid shirt and some... Actually, exactly what Isaac's wearing right now. But because he is so burly and so built, it looks weird. It looks like it's been painted on, and it just like, you've got perfectly... medium body build of Leslie Mann and Ike, what's his name? Baron Holtz.
Yeah.
And then you've just got this hulking tank of a man next to them.
To be fair, I think Ike Barinholtz must be about 6'4" and reasonably built.
Really?
He looks minuscule.
He looks
weedy
John
Cena,
next
it's
to
weird.
John Cena.
Yeah. Well done, Dwayne Johnson. See, the thing is, you can say if he wants his name to be Dwayne Johnson, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm still going to leave the pause for The Rock. So I'm like, good work, Dwayne Johnson. And you have to say The Rock in your head. As much as he doesn't want it anymore, it's still there. There's nothing you can do about it.
The weird thing is as well, even if you take out The Rock, you still have to say his last name. You can't just say, hey, Dwayne, how you going? It's always going to be, hey, Dwayne Johnson, how are you going? Aesthetically, they're sort of hitting upon similar notes there. And I feel like it's purely because one studio found out that the other studio is doing something like this.
I disagree. I really just think that Blue Sky is just buying up children's books and the
Okay.
fact that it's like about a bull. It's like, oh, kids love animals. Is it beloved children's book? I don't know. It's a children's book. I'm not sure. Let's turn it into it. I think aesthetically, the Coco falls into there's was it Book of the Dead? There was an animated film from a few years ago.
Oh yes, with Guillermo del Toro, I believe, produced it. It might have been Book of the Dead or something.
And then I think you said there's a video game, the Grim Fandango series.
Yes,
I think
very
aesthetically, I would say Pixar's drawing more on that than. I mean, again, Pixar, you can't really claim ever steals things or borrows ideas.
No.
They very much they try and set the trend, and they do quite a good job of it. But those aesthetics, I think, are more influences over Coco than the Spanish Bull. I think,
No, I just Anyway, this is my theory anyway, that all these animation studios tend to just sort of leapfrog onto something that is of the moment.
I mean, isn't that the whole premise of our podcast? Is that we identify what are the trends and try and make films on it, because that's a guaranteed moneymaker. We can't be the front runners for everything. We sometimes have to be the vultures that pick over the scraps and feed ourselves that way.
You're absolutely right, and I applaud any other studio that's doing the exact same thing.
That Blue Sky is, I mean, a shining beacon of how we should model ourselves. In fact, maybe we should change our name to like to the Azure above. I don't know. Sure, whatever. We can't. It's like a conga line, right? Someone has to be at the front of the conga line.
That's right. Yeah.
And there's only one spot. Pixar is there at the moment.
Yep.
Eventually, Pixar will get tired and have to sit down and rest their feet.
Yeah.
You can't conga forever.
No.
And eventually, the people at the back of the conga line get to the front. And that's what we've got to do. Currently, we're holding the hips of Blue Sky and following in their lead, and they're following in Pixar's lead. But one day we'll be the front runner.
So is anyone behind us?
I can't feel anyone there, but who knows?
Okay. If our lawyers ever sort of leave us and split off from us, they might turn into a studio themselves and just join the queue, but we're going to very much fight for that not to happen. There's a lot of horror films, and usually it's just a single entity of some kind that's terrorizing a group of people, or it might be 2 or 3 entities at the most. This trailer had the gall to write on screen 500 spirits in this one house.
Oh, it's just sort of like it literally cuts, goes spirits, demons, ghosts, poltergeists, specters, and just like
everything.
Every word that you can think of for like these demonic apparitions. It actually says those words on screen and cuts. It's like, we got them all, baby.
Come down to Crazy Winchester's house. We've got spirits. We've got ghouls. We've got them out the wazoo.
This week's special, 2-to-1 on apparitions. Enter the bedroom, and for the price of 1, you'll see 2 apparitions. So make you shut your pants.
They're flying out the door. That's what it's like.
Yeah, it is the movie film studio approach of like instead of one, all.
Yeah.
Just back up the truck and dump everything out, and that'll do.
Put them in. I also got slight hints of a film called Predestination, which was an Australian film.
Oh yeah, and it also had Ethan Hawke,
also starring Ethan Hawke as well, which is again much more of a sci-fi time traveling concept. But there's shades of it in there. I don't know if it's just because Ethan Hawke is in it.
It is just because I mean the same brothers who did Predestination did that vampire one with Ethan Hawke as well, right?
Yeah,
so
he's in a lot of their films.
Yeah.
Daybreakers is that one.
Yeah.
The Spearig brothers. Why do I know that?
I also got sort of shades of White Fang. I may just be thinking of Ethan Hawke.
There was also that. I also was thinking of. I got shades of The Purge as well.
Yeah, and Gattaca.
Yeah.
And Before Sunset and After Sunrise and Until Midnight and all of those Linkletter films that he's in.
And Boyhood.
I don't know. I have no idea why.
It just felt like there was something there that connected all these films together, and it was that.
We've sent a cease and desist to Ron Howard and the people at Disney.
I've sent him a cease and desist to stop him from making any more Da Vinci Code films. But,
that's a separate lawsuit.
Totally separate lawsuit.
There's a class action with that one. The movie film studios are not the only people involved.
Yeah, I've sent one to Tom Hanks as well, and any other French actress that they get to recast that role that Audrey Tattoo, whatever. That she played in the first and then mysteriously disappeared from the second, and I guess there was a third at some point.
I think the issue with it is she disappeared from the second film because the second film it was supposed to be set, or it was written before the first one. Anyway, it doesn't really matter.
Are any of the original actors in this film?
They all like the main guy and the main girl.
Yep.
Effie from Skins, who was in one of our favorite films, Pirates of the Caribbean 5.
Yep. Dead Men Tell
Chesty Tales.
Chesty Tales.
They were both in the first one. I think Julianne Moore was in the original. I think she's subsequently dropped off. This one does actually have an ensemble cast of people that you recognize. So it's got Littlefinger from Game of Thrones.
Yep.
It has Jojen from Game of Thrones. It's pretty much just all the characters who have died in Game of Thrones.
They've been freed up.
Have now just signed on. Like, I think the studio must be just next door. None of those, they like read their final scripts dejected that their characters are finally dead. Like, there's a guy at the gate go, "Hey guys, you want to be in the next Maze Runner film?" Yep. So we don't have a job, might as well come across.
So what about Sean Bean?
Yep, he was the Maze in the first one. Look, I have no idea what Sean Bean's up to, but
we'll see that in cinemas sometime later.
Having said that, it's actually kind of an exciting time for movie film studios because most of the films that we've reviewed trailers for are starting to come out.
Yeah.
So like we did Geostorm and we were very excited about Geostorm.
Yep.
Downsizing came out at the movies. I think we mentioned Downsizing in our second episode. So that's
Jumanji's out soon.
About to come out. I think Boxing Day release here in Australia. Very, very excited about Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle.
Yeah.
We may do, as we did with the Geostorm, we'll not wait for the Blu-ray release. We might have to go
private screening.
Go to our private screening.
Yeah.
Might be a bit more difficult private screening because Boxing Day and New Year's Day are traditionally the biggest days at the cinema.
Yeah.
We may maybe just to be generous, we open up our private screening to the public as well.
I think that's a good idea.
So
it's very charitable of you. It's very Ebenezer Scrooge at the end of A Christmas Carol of you to do that. What day is it today, sir? Why, it's Jumanji screening day.
It's Jumanji screening day.
I can't wait for Ready Player 2 in the year 2047 when they go back in 2017 was the bloody best of all time, and it's just J.J. Abrams and his old age has come back.
True.
And it's just
J.J.
like
Abrams,
where
Spielberg owns
all
the
that
80s.
stuff. Yeah,
Abrams owns the noughties and all the IP from that. So
we can have it. This is the kind of film where they took every single weird science technology thing that's in the news right now.
Yes.
That's climate change, space travel, and self-driving autonomous vehicles, and jammed it all together.
It really should have been called The Day After Tomorrow, Gravity,
That's right,
White House Down, because it's got people in space trying to survive as space things explode. It has weather catastrophes destroying the world. It has trying to protect the presidents as things are blowing up.
Yes.
It is every Roland Emmerich film rolled into the one film.
It is
glorious. Batshit bananas crazy, and it looks so stupid. It might actually be fun.
Now, to anyone that is going to go out and watch this trailer, I thoroughly urge them to do that. Watch trailer 2 first, then go back and watch trailer 1 because this is
crazy,
insane.
So
difference
we
in
talked
tone.
about how it had Louis Armstrong's "What a Wonderful World" with that slow, melodramatic cover, building over these sort of shots of things getting destroyed and slow motion buildings collapsing and people running away from tidal waves. They're exactly the same shots that they used in number 2. Only I'm not in trailer 2. It's a different soundtrack. It's that Vietnam era, upbeat. Spaceships flying. There's people doing jokes, like these light-hearted jokes over the same shots that have this very sort of dramatic feel in the first trailer. It's
I couldn't believe the difference in tone. So the first trailer has no dialogue in it whatsoever. It's just a collection of shots showing devastation and all the Earth's all the climate events that are going on the planet, with the very emotional, very dramatic, pared down cover of What a Wonderful World. Then trailer 2, exact same footage with some more in there.
Yeah.
No What a Wonderful World, full of quippy, weird, trying to be funny dialogue. And it's like, what is this film? Is it a drama? Is it a comedy?
I don't know. I think like it feels very much like 2012.
Yep.
Because I wouldn't be surprised if some of exactly the same shots from 2012 are being used in this film of causeways collapsing, of the Earth being ripped apart as trains go flying out of tunnels that no longer connect to anything.
Yep.
And I feel as though tonally it's exactly the same kind of film.
Oh, for sure.
But they just can't make up their mind with the trailer, whether they want one trailer to show this gritty, dark, end of the world thing, or whether they want the other trailer to be this sort of fun action comedy.
Well, I mean, if there's one thing that'll sell you on this film, there's a title card in the middle of it that says, "From the producer of Independence Day."
Yes.
Not the director.
Not the director.
Not the writer.
Not the writer.
Not anyone else who has more of a creative input into the film. The producer.
And
now,
I'm sure the producer didn't do anything. They're just like,
No.
we need to claim that we had a producer from Independence Day in the title, who is a producer from Independence Day that is not doing anything, who can just do like a set visit one day, can just come by and just say, "Oh, well, I mean, what do you think of this show? I think it's pretty good. You're a producer now in the credits. You're in the trailer. Done."
So how does one get promoted to executive producer?
I think you actually have to do something.
Oh.
No, actually, to be fair, I do actually think it's the other way around.
I think you have to do less.
I think executive producer is one of those things that they just give you. It's like if you've been in a TV show for 5 seasons, then you're an executive producer.
Yeah.
But you don't do anything extra, whereas the producers do actually do the
exactly.
the work. So.
I mean, the the relevance of executive producer is really laid to bear when you realize that Steven Spielberg is the executive producer of the Transformers films.
Oh, there was one summer I was working in a cinema where he was the executive producer of every film that was in the trailer reel. So it was like Eagle Eye with Shia LaBeouf. Like just there was probably a Transformers that was released then as well. Just every single film. There was about 6 of them in that trailer reel. He was an executive producer on. I'm like, I'm sure he just watches them. I'm just like,
I don't think he does though.
Like,
how could someone like Steven Spielberg, who has directed Schindler's List, The Color Purple, Munich, how could he watch something like War Horse? Yeah. The horse that went to war.
No, that's fine. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what he has to do. It's just like the script goes onto his desk. He's like, Eagle Eye. That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
Executive producer.
That's right, yeah.
Transformers 3. Plane crash. Trans man bomb. Executive produce. Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Oh no, I directed that one. Oh.
Atomic Blonde, 2017, starring Charlize Theron.
Theron, I believe it's pronounced. But there you go.
Whatever. And James McAvoy. That's how you pronounce it, right? No.
John Goodman.
And Toby Jones, one of our
Jones.
favorites.
I do really like Toby Jones.
And some other actors as well. So anyway. So
you forgot one of the Skarsgårds, Peter Skarsgård? Stellan Skarsgård's son and Alexander Skarsgård's brother. Apparently there's a clan of Skarsgårds and there's like 7 children and 6 of them are actors or something like that.
And they're going to go up against the Culkins, aren't they?
Yes, it's the Culkins versus the Skarsgårds. I think the sea monster kills it.
The sea monster does. What's the sea monster called?
His name is Barry.
Barry McNibbles.
I'm just Barry Nibbles. Well, what's that? You feeding me a shock today. Barry Nibbles, thanks you very much for the... Oh, something different on the menu today. It's a British nanny and a pterodactyl, thank you. Barry Nibbles likes it when you vary his diet, thanks, Barry Nibbles.
That's cut dialogue from Jurassic World.
I mean, I think and again, when we discussed this during the film, Jurassic World would be fantastic if the dinosaurs could talk. If you dubbed over the entire film and gave the dinosaurs dialogue, it would actually salvage the film.
I would watch the shit out of that film. So we were like towards the end when the dinosaurs get really oddly human, and they start scheming and plotting, and there's this weird kind of like battle royale. They're not. It's weird. You could absolutely just sub in dialogue at that point. Yeah. And the film would be exactly the same.
It's like, sup, bro? It's like, there's this moment at the end where the T-Rex and the Velociraptor have teamed up to kill the Indominus. Yeah. I swear they're going to fist bump.
Yeah.
They are going to fist bump after they've taken him down.
They're just like, we're cool.
Yeah, cool, right? Bro. Cool, bro.
Well, it's like so you mentioned that to me after we finished watching Jurassic Park that, and don't know if this is true, someone else go research it, but the T-Rex in Jurassic World has scars.
Yeah, scars on its neck that run down the side.
In apparent reference to the T-Rex from Jurassic Park.
I don't know. I thought it was weird that the scars were there, and I thought it was like, it could potentially be the same T-Rex, but it's never really referenced in a lot of detail.
But let's say it is. So essentially that scene at the end is them burying the hatchet.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like,
like an uneasy truce.
Exactly. It's like, oh yeah, you came in the end and killed my bros back in Jurassic Park to save the humans. Hey dude, what was all that about? It's like, well, you were jumping all over my neck, buddy.
It's like the Christmas truce of World War One.
Exactly.
You know,
one day a year they shall lay down their arms.
That's right.
And fight against Barry Nibbles.
Right. Man, Barry Nibbles really gets his moment in the sun. At the end, too.
he needs a spin-off film.
He
really
does.
Oh, like it's Blackfish, but this time it's Barry Nibbles.
Blackfish 2.
The Barry Nibbles
story. Oh, would it be like an epic revenge story as well?
I don't know how you do it. Like, I mean, again, if we're going back to films from 1993, why not revisit Free Willy? just free Barry. I
reckon what happened with Free Willy. Barry McNibbles auditioned for the role of Willy, but was turned down.
Oh yeah,
because he did try to eat the kid at some point.
The iconic moment where he's jumping over the wall. Yeah, he's just actually got the kid in his mouth because he's collected him on the way through. It's like, oh, Barry Nibble likes some little kids.
And then the director has to come up to Barry Nibbles at the end and go, "Listen,
we kind of already cast the kids, and
you're gonna have to give him back, and we're gonna have to let you go." Barry Nibble, no like. We obviously don't like any of the characters, but let's talk about the villain of the piece, I guess, which is the Indominus.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, oh god.
Is that its name? That doesn't sound right.
I think there might be a K sound, like Indominicus.
Indominicus,
but I'm just like, let's say the Dominant Rex.
The Dominant Rex, right? Yeah.
Yeah, DR for sure. Like
Dommy Rex.
Yeah, Dom. Hey Dom. Sup?
So Dommers.
Yeah.
I guess was the T-Rex from Jurassic Park, but like,
I mean, you quite clearly, one of the bigger issues that you raised with me that you hate about the film is that it's just a shell of Jurassic Park.
It is.
It hits the beats of Jurassic Park without having any of the substance.
Yeah.
And you can draw parallels to everything. And in terms of DR, he is the T-Rex. His main job is to be a source of fear that escapes and runs loose and causes terror. And in that sense, like,
which is fine, but the weird thing that they did with this film was that they just kept giving him more powers.
Oh, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. He has the ability to lay traps 8 moves in advance.
Then he can cloak, and then he can plan and
lower his thermal thing so it's not detected on the sensors.
Comes up with like weird strategies and gameplays for like trapping humans. Like what? How? What DNA?
The DNA of Gary Kasparov. Is in there, along with DNA of cuttlefish, of T-Rex, of MacGyver, I think is in there as well at some points. Just like, it is crazy the ability that he just comes up with the plan and trap and improvise. It's insane.
Like, BD Wong, right? That's his name.
Yes, little BD Wong.
In real life and in the film.
Yes. Dr. BD Wong.
Dr. BD Wong.
That's the only difference. In the film, his name's Dr. BD Wong. In real life, it's just BD Wong.
That's right, yeah. So he must have had a cauldron at some point and was just tipping in every bit of DNA he had left, right? Like, just like, yep, that'll do. Gary, get in there. We need a bit of your hair. Who else? MacGyver.
Richard Dean Anderson.
Richard Dean Anderson just
not doing much. Come over.
Yeah, come on. And then they create this thing, and then, like, literally at every point, some new power comes out that this thing has, right? So at the start, it's like,
lowering his thermal body temperature so it doesn't show up on scanners. Yeah. Which... Look, I mean, to be fair, Gary Kasparov's DNA showed up first, because before that, he had to leave scratches on the wall for no one to notice.
So first DR pops out with the Kasparov play.
Yes.
It's classic. Classic
opening move.
Yeah.
Superb. Scratch to wall 4.
So at the 1.5 hour point, it's revealed that she's an orphan.
She's an orphan, yeah.
She was dropped off at an orphanarium.
Orphanarium.
That's what.
Yeah, I mean,
that's what they are, isn't it?
Yeah, sure.
Orphan house, orphan warehouse. The discount orphan warehouse.
Discount orphan warehouse. That's why her first name is Discount. And her last name is Keira Knightley.
Keira Knightley, yeah. It's a family name. So she gets dropped off there, and she has a book purportedly from her father.
Yeah.
And this book has a bunch of maps and instructions in it about how to find the location of King Neptune's trident. And so she's on this big quest to try and find it. We then learn, and we haven't actually mentioned this character yet, but we learn that for some reason, her father is Captain Barbossa.
Yeah, Jeffrey Rush's
character.
Captain, yeah.
For what?
Yeah, like it's completely out of the blue. They're having a conversation, and he's like, "Arr, what be your name?" And she's just like, "I'm named after the North Star, Keira Knightley." It's like, "Oh God, I had sex with a woman called Keira Knightley, and I dropped her this baby off at the orphanarium."
Are they going to go down the sort of DC route with the films and sort of use the whole? You guys are doing a lot of damage, and it's costing us a lot.
You know,
the
the
and
only
Marvel's
redeeming
done that
thing
too.
about this is that the thing they defeated was a giant monster made of gold.
Yeah.
So, like, at least
Actually, they'll be rich now.
They just mine the gold,
Yeah.
and then they can use that money
But,
to
like,
rebuild the town.
Were they mining for gold? Like, was that
Who knows what they were doing in
Because,
the quarry?
like, if so, that quarry company is bankrupt. Like, there's no gold left in that quarry. So, like, the town is prosperous as all hell, but, like, that poor company has nothing to do anymore.
The poor, beleaguered mining companies.
that's
AJ, where are your priorities?
I got the sense with that film that every other actor had the script and they were doing the script, but then Tom Cruise was let in to just improv his way throughout the entire film and just react.
It's the Will Ferrell approach
It
to
is,
the
yeah, it is.
filmmaking.
Like-
it's like Will Ferrell shows up on set and he's just like, there are no lines for my character for any of these scenes. I was like, it's all right, Will, you just improv it, just say your crazy lines and
Yeah.
we'll cut around it and it's
yeah.
fine. It's just like, I probably think it might be a better film if I had lines. It's like, no, it's all right, Will, we love you on Saturday Night Live. Just make up whatever we want. We'll cut a film around it. We'll make a film out of
more
what you
cowbell.
say.
That's it. More cowbell. All you need to fix this film is a couple of scenes intersliced throughout where they cut to that campfire and there's 4 10-year-old girls telling the story. And it would be perfect, right? It would explain everything. All the stupidity of this film would be absolutely
Just the
fine.
dancing montages. Like,
Yeah,
is there
3
anything other than a 12-year-old girl who would have put 4 separate dancing montages in this film?
Yeah.
And speaking of the dancing montage, we're going to go back to something that showed up in The Mummy, and there's something that showed up in Pirates of the Caribbean, which is just magical powers. And so Chris Hemsworth's character gets possessed at one stage by the antagonist Ghost, and suddenly has a bizarre assortment of magic powers, including being able to mind control an entire army to essentially do like the Michael Jackson Thriller dance.
Well, they were doing Staying Alive, weren't they? That was a Bee Gees song.
Yeah, but I think they had that, you know, the arms in the air.
Kind of
with
like,
and they were frozen there in that stance, and it's just sort of like, no ghost had this power before, and if you have the power to mind control people, why are you not mind controlling the Ghostbusters to freeze in place like you've done with everyone else? It just becomes this bizarre assortment of powers that they give characters to make scenes work, which if the character actually had those powers would just defeat the good guys in a snap of the fingers.
Exactly.
It is absolutely crazy that this keeps showing up in films time and time again. And the range of powers that he has as a ghost are difficult enough to overcome anyway. The only reason to have the mind control powers is to do another dance scene, dance sequence montage. They have one that they move into the office. And I think it's like a Belle Biv DeVoe thing where Kate McKinnon's sort of dancing around with blowtorches and setting things on fire. They have another one where Melissa McCarthy and Kristen Wiig are recounting the story of how they met and they're doing like a dance routine for the presentation.
It's a high school project.
They have another one after they captured their first ghost for the first time. And it's a great big celebration of them sort of dancing around. And then they do another one at the end, which is the mind control thing. We've had enough dance montage. You don't need to give the ghost another magic power just so you can throw another one in there. So the midsection of the film, they discover that there's a secret society of people who hunt down evil in the world and try and understand it and control it or destroy it.
Yes.
Essentially, I can't remember what they've called it. Like perineum,
Monster Paradise. Yeah, it was something perineum.
They've taken some Latin words and turned it into like some secret.
Like prodigally.
Yeah, prodigium.
Prodigium. That sounds.
That'll do. I like perineum.
Procedure. I don't know.
Yeah, whatever.
Perineum. Perineum is it.
And they're just sort of like, oh yeah, evil exists all throughout the world, and yeah, we've caught this mummy, and she's pretty evil. She's probably the most evil we've found, but there's plenty of it around. And we're trying to destroy it all. It's just like you've literally like built this thing up, this mummy up to be super evil and the most threatening thing to the existence of the world, and then they kind of like, oh yeah, we've locked her up and we're going to do some experiments on her, but it's no real big deal. And it's just like, really, to establish this dark universe where there's lots of other monstrous creatures, you've taken a beat in the middle of the film just to sort of like de-emphasize just how powerful this thing is. It's like, oh no, it's all right. We'll...
It's sort of like if you... Here's the example I can give you, because this film is trying to be the Avengers, right? It's trying to set up the same kind of cinematic universe that Marvel and DC have. But if we take it to...
DC doesn't have a cinematic universe.
Whatever. It's rubbish. But let's take Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight, right?
Right.
That would the way that this film does it would be like The Dark Knight playing out as it does currently, but in the middle of the film, there's a section where suddenly Superman appears and Wonder Woman appears, and the whole concept of Justice League is established, and then we put that at one side and continue the rest of the film.
It's like, oh, you're dealing with the Joker or Bane at the moment. They're pretty bad, but there's a whole big evil world out there. Oh, you can... I mean, we're still going to spend the rest of the film dealing with your little problem, but just bear in mind, there's a lot more going on out there, and what you're doing doesn't actually really matter.
Have you heard
that
about...
much.
There's this thing called Brainiac and Sinestro. I mean, you know that he's probably going to be evil. He's got the word sinister in his name, but it's fine. You deal with the Joker.
Doomsday, a genetically engineered being from an alternate dimension who is more powerful than Superman.
Oh, yeah, aliens exist as well. You know, it's
you're dealing with a mentally unstable guy dressed like a clown, are you? Does he have any superpowers? Is he an alien? Was he genetically modified? No.
Is he taking over the world, or is it, just Gotham?
Not even Gotham. Just like two boats in the middle of the harbor.
Yeah. Listen, when you deal with the Joker, we'd like to experiment on him afterwards as well. Like, if that's okay with you. That's the Mummy, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. And let's talk about this let's talk about the Dark Universe, right? So they're setting up a collection of characters that will apparently appear in further films, of which I don't think there will be any because this film did terribly.
I reckon at least two of them go ahead.
Really? Right. Well, look forward to seeing those two films.
Is it a bet that we're going to have? We're going to have like a tracker, like
let's
a
do
board
it. All right,
let's
do it. All right. So let's just say, it has to be within the same... This universe.
Yes, I mean, this one's very specifically at the start when the Universal logo comes across, spins around, and it says Dark Universe.
Yeah, which we couldn't tell if it was a production company or just literally telling you that this is a cinematic universe, but whatever. So here's the bet then, right? The bet is that we will see two other films in this exact universe. So it can't be a reboot. It can't be a...
I can't include the Benicio del Toro Wolfman.
No, you cannot.
I can't include the I Frankensteins.
No.
It has to be
this universe, right? And has to make explicit reference to this universe or officially be part of this canon. And then you win the bet.
All right, but for you to win, there has to be none.
None. So now until...
If they make one...
Yes.
And do they have to be cinematic releases, or can we go straight to video?
I'll say straight to video is fine.
So like Scorpion King 4 straight to video is
totally
still
fine.
technically part of the Mummy universe.
Of it. That's fine. I'm happy to accept that. I'll even extend it even further. If it's a TV series or Netflix or whatever else is out there,
I'll
also accept that. But it has to be two. Two additional
ones. All right. Barry Nibbles, come on, do a bit of fighting down by the waterside, guys. Barry Nibbles like to get in some action.
Water's nice and fresh down here.
No, it's all right. It's all right, Barry Nibbles. We're going to do most of our fighting over here on the land. Oh, come on down the waterside, guys. Wouldn't mind a bit of fighting down by the waterside.
Have you considered digging a channel at all? It's quite nice to have a bit of inland water.
Barry Nibbles.
Barry Nibbles. He is my favorite character. I'm going to say it. He's my favorite character of Jurassic World.
I mean, there's very little to.
You can't hate him. He's the hero, right?
Yeah, he defeats. He is. I mean, if you think about it, if he's not there, the old Dom, old DR, doesn't like the T-Rex and the Velociraptor. Bud's teaming up, broing out. Yeah. Still can't defeat it. They still need old Barry Nibbles to come in and save the day. Yeah. And like he doesn't even get a mention in the credits. I think.
No, he doesn't. I mean, that's disgraceful.
Yeah.
Well,
is it? I don't want to say whitewashing. Human washing of the credits. They've been doing it for years.
It's insane.
They've been doing it.
It's disgraceful.
For years.
It's disgraceful. I will say this though about Barry McNibbles. Is that the only DNA that didn't get into Indominus Rex? Is it just like, is Barry McNibbles just pissed off? Oh?
How did a mosquito bite him? Just like,
That's a good point.
Oh, I was Baron Nibble. I'm just floating on the surface of this water. Oh, Jesus Christ, little mosquito. I was just floating on the top of this water here, enjoying the sunshine. It's so dark in the deep waters down there. And you came along, you bite me? You bite me right on the backside? That's not nice, little mosquito. This is the moment that he was called Jack the Sparrow.
Yeah, that he became the pirate.
Once he did that, he earned the respect of all of his other pirate mates, and they all come along and they put like a little token of appreciation, and they're all his little affectations. They're his hat.
Yeah.
They're the weird stick that's across his face.
Yeah.
The beads that are dangling from his goatee.
Yeah.
And then also... it's also supposed to be where he got the compass as well, because the captain of the ship gets hit by a cannonball.
That's right.
And he gives the compass to him. He's like, this compass will show you the thing that you most desire. Don't betray it. Like, this weird thing is like, what was that thing at the end there that's never come up in any of the other films, except we've already seen that he's betrayed it and given it away earlier, so we're trying to write in that he was told that he shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, because like a single throwaway line by a dying character is definitely the way you want to... Oh, a character that we've never seen before, by the way. He
explains the magic of the world, why things are happening.
You see the first shot of him during that flashback, and then literally 20 seconds later, he's dead.
Yes.
And apparently that's anyway.
And he's had the compass the whole time. What's he been doing with it? Like, if it's the thing that he desires most and he's been following it, how did it take him into a battle with a Spanish general who wants to kill all pirates?
I have to go back actually to that bit where they're giving him all his affectations, right? Because you can kind of cast a thread, and don't hate me on this, I'm going somewhere. That scene in Last Crusade, during the opening sequence when it's a flashback to Indiana Jones's youth,
he gets
and
the hat.
he gets his hat.
Also, the whip scar is the scar with
and
the
the
whip.
scar and the whip.
Yeah,
That's fine. That's a cute little
fear
thing.
of snakes as well. If we're going for every Indiana Jones affectation,
sure,
being
but at least
explained in the one
that
sequence.
happens over a course of a big sequence, right?
Yes.
This would be like the pirate's equivalent would be like the bad guy gives Indy the hat, then he takes off his jacket and gives him that, then he pulls off his whip and gives him that, and then he says...
and then takes out his gun and says, use this in a fight scene if you have dysentery while filming in Turkey. And,
if some guy is swinging a sword at you and you're not feeling up for it, just shoot him with this gun.
Yeah.
You need to just point it in this direction and you use the trigger to fire. That's what this was like.
That makes total sense. So immediately everyone's on board that Andy Garcia has done it.
Yeah.
And it might be the slicked back oily hair. It might be the fact that I'm not sure he knows that he's in the film. There's a big sequence there, right? Where they're trying to get him away.
Yeah.
And Abby Cornish, who plays 21's Secret Service fiance, fires a gun in the air and says, there's a gunman, and then tries to usher Andy Garcia into a getaway car.
Yeah.
And he's just kind of like stumbling from like scene to scene, kind of looking around going, what am I doing? Where am I supposed to be going? Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they said to Andy Garcia, oh, we're making this film called Geostorm. Do you want to take a tour of the studio? just wear a really nice suit. And he shows up and he's sort of like, he's just sort of like going from scene to scene. Yeah, this is really nice. And then like the film comes out and he's like, it's starring Andy Garcia, and Andy Garcia had no idea he was in the film.
So he could potentially, he has the same role that most executive producers have.
Exactly.
They were given a studio tour at some point, but they went further with it. This time they just cast him in the film.
Yeah, they did that Bowfinger thing where they filmed him without his knowledge and cut him into the film.
So my plan is, I'm going to take control of this geosatellite weather system that the US and the rest of the world has developed. I'm going to set off a bunch of storms in a bunch of places. One of them will hit Florida, where the president is speaking. That storm will wipe out everyone there. And as a result, Secretary of State Ed Harris, will become president of the US. That is his plan. That's
what they assume his plan is. And I kind of have a secret idea that it's not.
Oh, really?
Because, I mean, that doesn't make any sense.
But that's his plan.
That's what they say his plan is in the film. And granted, I think Ed Harris is like, secretly, I have a different plan, which we're not going to explain in the film. Because really, what's the point of setting off a chain reaction if I only need just to like set off one weather event in Orlando? Like the rest of the Geostorm thing doesn't make any sense. And like, and then it's like genocide, and they kind of touch on the fact that like, we can wipe out all of America's enemies, and America will once again be where it was in the 1940s, a beacon of glimmering hope for the rest of the world.
Instead of a bank
that loans out money to other countries, I think is his explanation. I don't really think he wants to be president. And they say that so there's a traitor up on the space station who's a computer programmer who's put the virus in the system to make everything work. It's like, oh, you're going to kill everyone on the planet. You wipe out everything out. It's like, yeah, but not the best bits. And there's just to say they're saving the really good bits. And you then see a map of the world, and pretty much most of Australia isn't going to get hit. I'm like, yeah, that's right. Save the best bits. Save Australia. That's great. And then I think Ed Harris's plan is he just wants to move to Australia. He can't find a good excuse. He's like, the best reason that I can do to convince my wife to move to Australia is if I destroy the rest of the world, and then we can go settle on up in sunny Queensland
seems
somewhere.
Like it, yeah.
I think that's his secret plan.
Yeah.
Will Isaac and AJ escape from the planet of evil Nazi dinosaurs? Will Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson finally agree to star in one of their films? Will Steven Spielberg sue us for using this music? Find out in part 2 of Movie Film Studios' Best of 2017 podcast.